Hey everybody, Dave Whitmarsh back for the last session of the day. Thank you for coming in and paying attention. So we have a guest all the way from Brazil this time. So I'm looking forward to seeing a full demo of Percival and how it pertains to bonus and pay, and we do have a full compensation module coming up in a couple weeks, so we can certainly dive in, or after the webcast, you know, you can see Klaus's email there, and you can get a hold of him and get a full demo before then. But right now we're looking at going to be focusing around bonus pay and a bit of rewards. So happy to introduce Klaus Wuestefeld, and he's the co-founder of Percival, and looking forward to this presentation. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, David. Thank you for the invitation. So Percival is a tool that allows you to share bonuses or compensation in general, and it's a tool to solve the subjective issues, right, when sharing something like this. Normally, Percival is the only digital tool that appraises member of teams in a fair and collaborative way. Okay, and so in traditional methods of compensation, or when we want to share bonuses, we spend a lot of time with management and team members in these appraisals. We try to put people into little boxes, right, limiting their job descriptions. Several, right, the final call is made by an admin or a small circle. Mistrust. Not always will the team perceive the partitioning of compensation as fair, right? If we don't do the bonus split properly, many people will have resentment, and the effect in the end of this is turnover, right? When a skilled employee becomes unhappy, the most common reaction is to switch jobs. And as we move to a more agile world, as companies try to become more agile in business, right, more collaborative, more multi-skilled, right, multidisciplinary, more autonomous teams, it becomes harder and harder for any manager or even for any individual to assess, right, to appraise how much each single person's contribution was. So it's a tough question, and it's becoming tougher as you know, teams become more agile. So when I started out, I was a manager, right? Myself and a partner of mine, we were managing 60 people. And we had this exact same problem. We need to appraise people either for bonuses or for salaries. And it was getting, you know, out of hand. The problems we have, right? The numbers are 13.2% of turnover in IT companies. 2 to 5 salaries are required when you need to replace someone, right? Now with the pandemic and remote work, it's much easier for other companies to steal, right, our good people. So we wanted a way in which the team itself, I didn't want to create an intermediate management layer, right, just in order to do the appraisals. So I wanted the team to be able to tell me, Klaus, this is what we think each one of us should earn. This is how we should share the pie, right? We consider the pie a bonus, for example. Okay, let's share this bonus. So the bonus is the whole pie, 100%, and the team will tell me. Let me show you the result. The team will tell me exactly how much they think each person should get, right, as a share. So in traditional 360 reviews, for example, it becomes a political process. I will help you so that you can help me, right? I'll appraise you well so that you appraise me well. No one wants to be like the bad person that will, you know, appraise everyone below expectations, even though that might be reality. So in traditional peer appraisals, what happens is you get an inflation of results. The entire team deserves raises. That's the result of the team, right? And with our process, right, the team set salaries process, the team has to share a cake, right? This is the question we ask: Instead of asking who should get a raise, the question we ask is how big a slice of cake does each colleague deserve, right? Compared to their peers. So asking how the compensation budget or the bonus should be split, right? How the pie or the cake should be sliced. This represents embracing its finite nature, right? We don't have infinite money. We have a budget, we have a bonus we have to share, right? It's not, so asking this question, how should we split this cake, is the only question that will lead to a clear, actionable answer. Whenever one states that a certain colleague deserves a bigger slice, it's automatically understood that the others deserve less and vice versa, right? Therefore, stating that everyone deserves a raise is simply not possible, right?
Hey, Klaus, if I could just jump in for a second. So the first time I saw this, I immediately, brought me way, way back to high school. And when I did a school project,
Exactly.
and we, there was 5 people in the team, and truthfully, 2 people did the
work.
lion's share of the work. Somebody might have bought some supplies and thought they were good, and at the end of the day, we were all marked accordingly.
The same.
And it just, if there could have been something like this to evaluate that process, and say, listen, not everybody's getting an A. This is a B presentation. So who did the work and who didn't do the work? And some might have got D's and some might have got A's. But at least the people that did the work would have been fairly competent.
Exactly.
So like that's just, it brings it right down to simplicity for me. I just think it's great.
Yeah, in school, of course, we don't mind, right? If we do the work, we don't mind maybe helping our friends, our colleagues, but in business, we can't do that. We have to compensate the people who actually contribute to the company. We can't just have, dead weight, or even not dead weight, but you simply have people who are newer to the business, who are still learning, right? You have people who just come out of school or are still interns. So we do need to have a fair way to share bonuses and to share.
But that's good motivation for those new employees, though, right?
Sure,
because they see, wow, if once I get this, there's opportunity for me to make a bit more money. It totally makes sense.
And when I started using this process, the team would show me, hey, this guy who is new, his rise was really steep. He was doing really well, so I could anticipate and I could pay him more, even without him asking. That's my main goal, right? I want to be fair to a point that people know that there is no use in they coming to me, Klaus, I want a bigger pay because I'm going to leave the company if I don't get a bigger pay. They know that I'm paying them the maximum I can and fairly. So it is very it is a very gratifying experience when you're working somewhere and you're recognized that your work has improved and the company pays you more voluntarily just because they recognize that your work. It doesn't force you to go and negotiate with managers and plead for salaries and stuff like that. This is a goal I wanted to achieve with this system as well. So let's in summary, right? It's a compensation process for autonomous and multidisciplinary teams. It applies an elegant algorithm in order to achieve fair results, balancing all the team's appraisals. I'll show you how the appraisals work. It's used to establish salaries, profit sharing, bonuses, and even company shares. One of our clients uses Percival to maybe some of you guys know a company called The Ready of CEO Aaron Dignan. He's the author of Brave New Work. And they for many rounds, they have issued shares in the company and split them using Percival among people. It's used by administrators in hierarchical companies, right? Traditional companies as an input for their decisions, and also at horizontal companies where they don't have managers. It solves the lack of adequate compensation solutions for systems such as Holacracy, Sociocracy, Teal, and Management 3.0. Okay. So this is how it works. Each member of the team will do an appraisal like this. So let's say I'm doing this appraisal. Okay. The video will start again. Okay, so it started, right? So let's say Jamie, in my opinion, had the best contribution. In second place came Kelly and Kim. and then Alex was last there. Each of these levels represents 20%. Okay, each level represents a 20% difference. We are seeing 4 levels here, but in the tool, it's actually infinite levels. That there's no limit to. I can show you here. Can you see there? There's no limit to the amount of levels, so I can do my appraisals here. For example, this might be my opinion. These green boxes here are, so what we're seeing now is the actual tool, right? These green boxes are the level of certainty. So Bruno, for example, how high is your certainty when appraising this person? I can have 0. Okay, I know almost nothing about this person's work. Or my certainty can be very high. I collaborate with this person almost every day and understand their work well. So let's say, okay, I know Bruno very well. My certainty is very high. So every person in the team does this appraisal. Each level represents, a 20% difference. So if I leave a level here blank, this means like I multiply 1.2 times 1.2. So it's 44% difference here between Julia and these 2 guys. And then the results will be shown like this. Okay, since this is an example, only I am doing the appraisals. In green here are my appraisals, right? And in gray are the team's appraisal. They are the same because I'm the only person doing an appraisal here in this example, right? The results can be closed only for the manager's eyes, or they can be published to the team. So many companies start with a closed round, just so the manager gets a feel of it, or gets a hang of it, and then as they gain confidence, they open results publicly and gain more transparency in that way. We got back here.
So how many people can you run? So you can use multiple scales. How many people can you put in one project? Do you have any max number on that?
There is no max number. We had teams running up to 65 people in the same appraisal round, but there is no maximum. If you have, let me see if I have a slide on this. No, I'll show you here. Okay, so suppose we have a large, let's say an engineering team, like a software engineering team, separated into squads, right? Into smaller teams. If there are enough connections, if people, cross-pollinate enough, they collaborate enough cross teams, like for example, a designer that works with more than one team, or a project manager that works with more than one team, or a person that has changed squads recently. So if there is enough appraisals among a few people in the team, you can put everyone in the same round, and there is no limit to the size of the team.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and I guess in theory you could probably, maybe I don't want to put you in the spot here, but you could do it by region. So if you had decent representation and South Asia had the top performing, you could award that team a higher percent as well as individuals, right?
If you have if you would replace, let's say, an individual with a team representative doing appraisals, it's possible. I've never seen it, but in the tool will allow it, certainly, yes. And here is an example of a result. This is an actual client of ours. They have 30 people in the team. They published this result, and this is what you see. This is what you as a manager, get to see. We just plotted the graph in a different way. So the person with the smallest contribution, in the team's opinion, right, in the team's appraisal, deserved 2.1% of the pie, and the person with the largest contribution, 4.7% of the pie. So imagine you as a manager having to manage several teams, several squads, and you have a vision like this that allows you to calibrate among teams. One problem with having several different managers is that they often use different criteria, right? They're different people, they have a different subjective view, and you need a calibration committee typically. And this company, they simply, they have this view, which is the opinion of the team. So collaboration is much easier, much more, straightforward. And you eliminate that effect of people saying, oh, it's because my manager doesn't like me, or he didn't see what I did. No, it's the actual team telling you, hey, look, you did really well, or you're not doing so well yet. You have to improve. And with this, the feeling of justice, of collaboration and justice is much larger.
Yeah, well, generally speaking, from a morale, from an employee engagement standpoint, people like to know where they stand, right? And so if if you're constantly on the bottom, without good reason, then medical leaves and things like that, obviously, taking into consideration, it's a good opportunity for you to tap into some of the other HR functions within, most organizations, learning management
Sure.
systems, training programs, what's
Sure.
available to do your job better.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's a time to shake up your attitude too. So, and truthfully, I would say that, if you have a big enough team and somebody consistently falls on the bottom of that, that this would be a really good indicator to whether or not they should be promoted or let go, right? So many things can be pulled from that.
Yes, sometimes we're faced as managers, right, with the decision of having to send someone. We need to do a cut, and we have to send some people away, let some people go. So we can compare. For example, I can see that some people are way down here in the team's opinion, and their salaries are high today. They're among the greatest salaries. So they are good candidates to to be let go. They have the maximum cost with the minimum contribution. Personally, this company, they like full transparency, so they publish the results as is. Myself, I avoid unnecessary comparisons among people. So, for example, this guy here, or I don't know if it's a guy or a woman. This person, it isn't interesting for her to know, oh, I'm the last. So I will slice in a few levels. So if I have like level 1, these 6 people will be level 1, and I won't say what their ranking is within that level, and then maybe these others here up to here will be level 2. So I just publish which people are in which level, without necessarily having to compare people more than what's absolutely necessary to compensate them. I don't like to promote ranking and competition like for no reason, but that's
if you're on the
perfectly.
bottom, it is there is a risk that person's will turn sour, right?
Yeah, there's no reason to say, oh look, you're last in this level. You simply tell this person you're in level 2, level 3, and that's okay. They have enough information to to work up if they would like. And most people, it's expected already. It's not like this is a big surprise. Like in most companies, it's a really, really efficient, really fast process. With 15 minutes, people can do the appraisal, right? Because they already know people. They don't have to decide at that moment. Yeah, normally they already have an opinion formed, and you can have a really fast result and get this view. And normally it's not a big surprise, because people are already they know what their salary should be. But you get one or another very nice insight, like, wow, the view of the team of this person isn't what I expected. This person is doing super well. I thought he was just a beginner, or apparently this guy isn't doing anything. I thought he was like a super good contributor, but he isn't doing anything. We should do something about that. We should help him. We should put him in touch with, maybe give him more opportunities, because his talent is being wasted, possibly. The team isn't seeing his contribution. Right? It's not always that people are lazy or avoiding work. Sometimes people simply, are in the wrong place. You have to give them opportunity. You have to put them in touch. As you said, give them better the other HR programs that there are, right?
Yeah.
Let me go back here. So we've managed to reduce turnover in one of our clients. In 2 years, we reduced 66.7%, 0.7% in 2 years. This represented a 9.2 savings in teams direct cost, right? Without taking into account other factors like morale and stuff like that. There's just direct cost on replacing people.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I was trying to figure out how you so turnover cost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a huge also. That's a big unbiased. Sorry, if it's handy, could you go back that 72%? So or 72.5% less time spent on performance appraisals. So
yeah.
And you know, what a bonus to actually have a fairly unbiased opinion, if you have a good pool size to do these with, because I know a lot of people, are always questioning the performance reviews or appraisals because, Bob goes out for beer after work with Joe, and Sally goes shopping with somebody else, and it just you just wonder if it's accurate. So when you put it back into the hands of that department, or the team, you certainly have the opportunity that to be more comfortable with the results.
Yeah, you touched a point, which is affinity, right? People become friends, and this affects people's appraisal. So, and this is an important part of work, especially collaborative work, knowledge work. It's no use that you are like a great technician, but everyone hates you. You're arrogant. You don't help anyone, right? You keep everything for yourself. So actually, being friendly and being helpful is important, right? What we have to be able to avoid, and a problem with many peer appraisal schemes, is cheating, right? People might say, okay, Dave, I'll put you 1 or 2 levels above there, and you put me 1 or 2 levels above, and people might try to cheat. People don't assess themselves, as you saw there in the example. I don't appraise myself, but I with a friend or with a small group, I can try and cheat, for example.
Absolutely.
The managers, right? If the results aren't public, managers can see the individual appraisals people did. So it becomes, in the graphs, in the results, it becomes clear that I'm helping you and you're helping me, right? So the manager or the team as a whole can call us to talk and say, hey, David, why did you appraise Klaus so well? And Klaus, why did you appraise David so well? And I might have a good reason. I can say, look, you guys, my examples are from the software industry. Always I could say, look, Dave has every week he spends like 2-3 nights fixing all the bugs, and he helps the clients and whatever, the new guys that came in, he taught them everything they know, blah 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 blah, and you guys aren't seeing that. I am seeing that. Okay, so Klaus, you have a good reason. Typically people will have a good reason to disagree with a team, and that's rich. That's what we want. We want to integrate all these different opinions, because the fairness comes from integrating all the different opinions. But if I don't have a good reason, if I'm like, but you can see that people are cheating.
Yeah.
It becomes really clear that people are.
Yeah, I way back in 1990, I worked in a customer service desk for a summer at my father's company, and we had about 15 people that were in that department, and there was 2 people particularly that were always late, and they were always late, and by 15-20 minutes, and it was a bit annoying. But at 5 o'clock there was 10 people that left every day right on time, and then there was about 5 people that stayed off until 7 o'clock at night, handling the requests and returns and the paperwork. And it was always those people that were 15 minutes late that were there until 7 o'clock,
Okay.
right? And if you were to, you know, depending on who you looked at or who you talked to, right, you would have a much different aspect in how you might judge these. But I can tell you from being one of the people that had to stay till 7 o'clock, these people were, you know, these people were godsend. We needed them to finish everything, right? And who cared if they showed up, you know, a couple times a week late? Because
and the team knows. The team always knows. So, some people in the team always know, right? If it's a big team, you don't know everyone, but at least you know enough people, and enough people know you to have a true appraisal of your contribution.
Yeah, totally.
Very nice. So maybe in conclusion, the benefits of the process and the tool: clear numerical results, right? Finding out exactly how much each person deserves to make in the team's opinion. Fair result, being the result of a collective process. Not only is it fair, but it is also perceived by the group as such. Even if I'm not happy with the result, I know the result is fair. I know it's like 10 people appraising me. It's not, you know, one manager or two that don't know me well appraising me. It's compliant with the budget, right? The sum of the results for every team member will always equate to the team's compensation budget. Unlike 360 degrees appraisals, there are no inflated results. And the transparency is custom. 4 levels of custom transparency, from closed results to open appraisals for the whole team. Normally, companies start with closed results. Only the manager can see the results, and they gradually can open it for the whole team. Appraisals are made in the most natural and precise way for human beings through relative comparison. I don't have to fit you into a scale like from 1 to 10 or from 1 to 5, and I don't have to interpret each scale. People have different, you know, criteria. No, I'm simply comparing people. It's much easier. Everyone knows. Okay, these guys are right. These people are the same, or she contributes more than he does, and vice versa. It's like having an absolute ear, right? If you play a note, a musical note, what is this? What is this note? If you have absolute pitch, you know, but most people don't. But if you play 2 notes, it's easy to say which one is higher than the other. It's the same thing when I'm appraising contribution, right? We don't need to be absolute. That's a good thing. Each person will only appraise the colleagues they know, also rating the level of certainty in their appraisal between very low and very high. You don't need to appraise people you don't know in a large team. Fraud detection is what we were speaking about earlier, about cheating, right? Percival will point out appraisals that differ greatly from the team's opinion. So you just have to deal with these. You only need to focus the conversations on these greater differences. You don't have to do one-on-ones with everyone, and, you know. And you can separate talent. Yeah, Dave, you were saying?
No, go ahead. But before you change slides, I have a question for you. Keep going.
Okay. And you can separate talent development from compensation, right? Percival will solve the compensation issue and allow management to focus on talent development in an independent way. You don't have to mix both, you know, compensation and talent development, because that becomes like a mercenary thing. It's really bad when you mix them both.
So I had a question around level of certainty, right? So is there some something in the back end that or what's the purpose of that? I guess I should ask.
It's these blue squares, right? Each appraisal that you make has you can attribute to it a level of certainty. If 2 people are appraising Sydney, if I am appraising Sydney with a low level of certainty and you appraise her with a high level of certainty, your appraisal will have a bigger influence in the result in the end.
Okay, so it is in the algorithm then.
Yes, it's like a weighting that you yourself attribute to your appraisal.
Gotcha.
Based on how well you know people.
Okay, sorry about that.
No. So a few testimonials from companies that use. I've been using the Percival process at my company for almost 20 years now, since 2002. And then a few of partner companies started. I used it like as a secret weapon, really, for many years. A few companies of partners of ours were started using it too. And then in 2019, I opened it as a product, like a web product. And this year we're opening it to the world in English and in the US and in Canada and other countries. We're marketing it to the world now.
Very cool. And so where do you see an ideal fit for this in organizations?
Collaborative teams, right? If people work alone individually, you have less of a gain. It's easier to measure people's impact to the business if they're working alone. Like a salesman going on his own, doing his sales, it's easy to simply give him commission or something like that on his sales. But when you have teams which are multidisciplinary, right? You have like designers working with developers, working with project managers, working, and the same person normally has several different hats, right? Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do that. Then it's really difficult to like set objectives, set goals, expectations. It's really hard to see how much each person contribute, unless that vision comes from the team itself. So knowledge work, right, and collaborative teams. That's the perfect fit for Percival. And teams can be as big as like some companies. I don't know if you guys know Nubank. It's the largest fintech outside Asia. We ran a trial there, and they have a huge team, but their teams also know each other's well. They know each other's well enough to appraise each other if necessary.
Super exciting. Is there any questions or sorry, are you?
Yeah, that's it. We came to the end.
Okay. Is there any questions maybe that somebody might have on instances or how-tos or what ifs?
You're asking the public for the chat? Okay.
Yeah. So there is a chat, and you can just drop a question in there. Of course, as always, you'll get contact information if you want to reach out to Klaus and encourage you guys to take a deeper look if you think it's a good fit.
On the site, people can you can try out the product. Up to 5 people, it's free, so you can use it as much as you like. Use it as a trial, up to 5 people. And also you can schedule a demo. It goes straight to a Calendly link where people can schedule a demo with me.
Cool. Okay, we have a question here. So let's see. So on average, how long does it take to implement?
It basically requires like a presentation to the team. Hey team, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to use, right? So it's like a single session. Maybe if you have like a 20 people team, you have them in a call or in a room. Explain, look, this is how it's going to work. We're going to make appraisals. Often these teams are already engaged in other kinds of peer appraisals, like 360 reviews. So it's not a big news, right? And then even if it's a large company, you'll certainly start with a team first to see how it goes. And then you will open the appraisals like for 3 days or 4 days. It actually takes 15 minutes, but in 3 or 4 days, people will choose the best time for them to do the appraisal. Then we can do a first round. We can close the first round. I help companies to interpret the results. For example, the cheating thing, or I can see, look, these people apparently they didn't understand where they should place people. Either they didn't do the appraisal or they understood it incorrectly. I can help like interpret the results and give feedback for the first time. And then companies can, and then they can go with their own feet, let's say. And then it's up to the managers to decide how they're going to use this result in taking their decisions, right? Making decisions forward. And then it's always good to have the rules set for the team before the game, right? To tell the team, hey team, for the next round, the results will be public. Or for the next round, the appraisals will be public. Or no, for the next round, the appraisals will be closed. So it's always, right, you don't want to go into a game, without the rules being well set before. So what takes more time is maybe convincing people, right? If you're like a CEO of a small company, you can make the decision and that's okay. But if there's more people involved, like managers and HR people, some people from the team, you might require discussion or demo or presentation. And so
to
that people
actually
see.
set up a survey though, or to actually set up one in the back end.
No, that's minutes. You can import the names and emails of the team. You can just copy and paste from a spreadsheet into the tool, and you're good to go.
So a little bit of formatting around how many categories you might want it in, instead of increments of 20.
Yeah, the number of levels are like infinite, and the 20% increment is something we found out empirically. I run this for almost 20 years. I did tens of thousands of appraisals, people appraising other people, and we tried with 10%, we tried with 20, 25, 33%. We tried several different values, and 20% is the best. It's a very intuitive value. It's less than 20% will, you really can't tell the difference between two people. You start to get too granular. Is David like 10% contributed more than this person? You can't really tell, right? And if it's much more than 20%, you start grouping people in the same level. You start grouping too many people in the same level. So 20% was a value we found to be a good match for all situations practically.
Wonderful. Hopefully that answered the question. Any other questions? No, and so I could definitely see a small business using it, and then that to me that would just be so simple. Just think about if you're you're even at something as simple as a construction site with 8 or 10 folks, you could you could just say, okay, the foreman, here you go. Everybody's, even if it's a smaller monetary reward or something that be so easy to do. But you had mentioned a pretty big fintech. Like, how many employees would they have?
They have, I don't know the number of, it's over 1,000 employees. It's like 400 engineers, something like that.
Wow. So definitely scalable, right?
And for small multidisciplinary teams, it's just a good fit. People, you mentioned a construction site. People can do it on their mobile phone. It is a web app, but it works. It's responsive, and people can do the appraisals on a web app too, on a cell phone.
And what if and I assume there's some form of reminder system in there, so after before the survey shuts down, if somebody hasn't put their input, you know who those people are.
Yes, the administrator will know these people have concluded their appraisals. These people are still doing. These people haven't even started, and so you can, hey folks, let's let's close this thing. You can remind them.
Wonderful, that's awesome. Okay, so like I said, everybody that's on will and the folks that registered for the archive will be sure to get you this presentation. I don't know if you want to share the deck or not. But,
yeah, sure. Yeah,
but
you can send the presentation.
So that's good, and maybe run it by your team and see if you think it would be a creative, different way to spur on some activity and get a little employee engagement going and manage your comp better, right? And so So definitely look forward to. Go ahead.
The impact we see, the behavior we see when implementing it is like, so people no longer like have a single, oh, this is my boss, so I just have to please the boss. What happens is like everyone is your boss, like everyone is appraising you. So the best thing you do is simply, do your work well, help people, communicate well. That's it. That's the behavior we observe,
Oh, that's awesome. And even though it's a fairly small instant of overall human capital engagement, which is a really big push in the market, this is definitely a tool that will have impact on overall employee engagement, and so it's a win-win. So very well done, good thinking.
Very nice. Thank you, David.
All right, guys. We'll be available for a full presentation in a couple of weeks. But like I said, definitely feel free to reach out, and you'll have Klaus's email. You can do that. But everybody have a great day and be safe out there. Thanks, Klaus.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.